Alright, time for another DraftPhysics.com, debatephysics.com also, but as has been previously noted, the debate is in a crappy and cruddy form, and so, well, that's what we're stuck with. So, redundantly, I have to go over some points. Now, we have some people conceding, okay, that yes, if I have a rocket and I shoot bullets out one side and I shoot recoiling guns out the other side, that the ship doesn't turn. Even though I shot many more watts of energy out one side than watts of energy out the other side, the differential doesn't create any motion. So an energy, a force differential that doesn't create motion is energy. Yeah, see, that's their definition of energy. Too ridiculous. I mean, it's so bad. It's so silly. I just don't know why. I can't understand why you would defend notions that are just overtly silly. All right. I mean, it's worse than a flat earther. Like I said, flat earthers are liars. What's your excuses? Well, what's your excuse? You believe absolute nonsense. An extreme energy differential that doesn't create motion is energy. Well, okay. So this Jerry guy, okay, in the comments section. Hopefully we'll get to some of the Wikipedia stuff, but we'll see. Hello there. I want to respond to your statement in this video that the stuff from the rocket is energy. So let's understand the stuff can be in the form of actual photons. So that's what NASA's actually using now, is it's using electric chips, okay, and basically sending photons to create thrust. Okay, yes, it's a small amount of thrust, but it does work. They're ions. And the ions are being obviously propelled by a force. Okay. So, I mean, it's just too ridiculous that these people can't admit that, yes, if I took a powerful laser up into space and I shot the laser, I would have a recoil, okay, that it would move my ship. Of course it would. What's next? The color of the rocket energy. So what does that even mean? What? So look, I make the simple statement that there's a big pile of fucking flaming crap coming out of the rocket, and these morons are claiming that's not energy. There's no energy happening. Okay, little bits of stuff moving at preposterously high speeds is not energy. I mean, too ridiculous. I mean, there's no point in having vocabulary if people are going to play this kind of moronic game and say it is not an example of energy. So if I said energy to a kid and I held up a picture of a rocket taking off, the kid should say, that's not energy. Oh, fuck. All right. The stuff from the rocket as it launches is not energy. So again, just absolutely too ridiculous a statement. It's clearly moving the rocket. The big heavy rocket is being moved by whatever's taking place. And clearly, if somebody doesn't call that an energetic event, they're retarded. Oh, fuck. It's matter. Whatever. You know, the stuff that has mass and occupies space. Blah, 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 blah. I mean, too ridiculous. The stuff that is made of atoms and molecules. Again, some more nonsense. The stuff that follows the law of conservation of mass. What the fuck does that? You don't have any law of conservation of mass, for fuck's sake. You believe you can, annihilate it. Okay, it can disappear and poof. I mean, what a pile of shit. All right, God, what nonsense. Oh, all right. The stuff from the rocket as it launches is the result of a chemical reaction or some other reaction, like me turning on the laser, and convert some of the fuel and oxidizer into hot gases. So again, more nonsense. Most of the navigating done in space is not burning thrust. Okay, we're talking about what turns the spaceship, and what turns it is just doesn't have any chemistry to it at all. It's just releasing a gas under pressure. These gases are expelled from the rocket at high speed, creating a force. Well, what do we mean creating a force? They are the force. They're not creating the force, they are the force. And pushes the rocket forward. So you believe in push for some weird reason. This force is called thrust. So again, the whole subject is what the fuck is a thrust? Is it momentum or is it kinetic energy? And it clearly answers the question. If kinetic energy can't move mass in empty space, then kinetic energy is obviously not energy. If it can't move matter, if a force differential can't move matter, then it's not energy. And the product of the mass and the rocket and its velocity is called momentum, says you. Okay, neither of these are energy. So again, just absolute nonsense. Energy isn't mass moving. That's his statement. Of course it is. All right, just absolute nonsense. Energy is the capacity to do work, which is again just absolute nonsense baby talk. Okay, work is frickin' energy. There's no way to get around it, okay? Something's working. You're seeing energy happen. You're seeing mass moving. You can't do work if some mass somewhere isn't moving. Work is the transfer of energy. Well, duh, okay, from one system to another. Yes, it's showing you the energy by transferring the energy. Okay, energy can be stored in different forms. Yes, so what? And there's no such thing as potential energy. Okay, there's just energy in smaller and smaller confinements. Okay, so, you know, a bird flying around in circles inside of its cage, okay, is not potential energy. It's clearly active energy. And you can let it go and you can see it, or you can leave it in the cage and keep it invisible. Oh, it's just, listen, look at this, whatever this bullshit is. Chemical, nuclear, electrical, magnetic, radiant. They're all the same fucking thing. It's mass moving, fuck brain. You're just such an idiot. Energy can be converted from one form to the other. They're not forms of energy. They're the same goddamn thing, you idiot. Okay, a magnetic and an electrical, they're all the same thing. Okay, it's the movement of little tiny bits of force. And all you can change is the pattern of the force. You can't change anything else about it. It's all moving the speed of light, moron. The speed of force. Oh god, you people are just so fucking obnoxiously stupid. But it cannot be created or destroyed. Well, frankly, that's the whole subject. You're claiming that two things with the same momentum can have different energies. Whatever the fuck that is. And the point is, well, no, when you go test it in space, it doesn't work. I can have 5,000 watts fly out one side of my spaceship and small things going fast, and I can have 2 watts flying out the other side and big things going slow. And you're conceding that, yeah, the ship doesn't go anywhere. Somehow those extra watts don't mean anything. This is the law of conservation of energy. You don't believe in conservation of energy, you fucking liar. I mean, it's just such nonsense. So the stuff from the rocket as it launches is not energy, it's just stuff. Okay, well, baby talk. Just absolute drivel. You should be embarrassed to type such nonsense. Oh, God. What a sick, stupid world. Oh, inane drivel. Ugh. All right, I will pause and go find the Wikipedia page. All right, so, as is predictable, okay, they're going to shut down the conversation. You're not allowed to discuss anything that opposes their religion. So they have their religion, their group to tell us what the truth is. They will not be challenged. They will not be obligated to defend what they claim is the truth. They'll just keep on lying to people, lying to children, distorting reality, and they're going to keep getting away with it because none of you people have anything called balls and integrity. You're all lying scum. All right, so anyway, so he said, it's completely unstated who put this on the page now, right? This isn't a place to promote fringe theories. So the fringe point being made is shouldn't the thrust page tell you the answer to the question? If I throw an elephant going 1 mile an hour out one side of my ship and I throw a mouse going 1,000 miles an hour out the other side of my ship, what should my expectation be if they have the same momentum? Should I expect the ship to move? The thrust web page should answer that question. Oh, God. Just disgusting that they can get away with this crap. So anyway. Yeah. So we'll see. I'll reply. I did reply to the V Quaker guy. Whatever he is. All right. So this was his next response. If you have questions about basic physics like force versus momentum versus kinetic energy, I should point out as a context, okay, is that the Jumbo guy, whatever his name is, who is really the founder of Wikipedia, I actually had conversations with him 20 years ago about the future of the internet, because he was basically asserting that his Wikipedia idea could be used as a search directory. That is, basically it could be a way of creating a index of the websites on the internet and the content on the internet. And I made the counterclaim that no, this is incredibly dangerous, because every single one of these projects that try to index the internet in some voluntary way ends up being run by a bunch of fucking, gatekeeping, control freaky, I own this subject, my religion is God. They're all mullahs. They're all Muslims, okay? Or else they're just plain crooks. They're pornographers. They're, that's all the directory got full of, was people making graft, okay? People trying to get their site on top, trying to promote their content, trying to do this, trying to do all this ulterior motive crap. And so it would fail because there's no way to regulate these dishonest people, because until you make the editors accountable, that is, until you can put the editors on trial, just like with judges, until you can put judges on trial, there's no accountability. They can do whatever the fuck they want. They have to be under strict laws. There has to be zero tolerance for corruption. And if you're not going to install that zero tolerance, then it's not going to work. Well, anyway, so we had that whole argument. I defended a system where the editors, like the idea of public servant, they would be under higher scrutiny. So if you were a cop or you're an editor, you'd be under the highest scrutiny in terms of what everything you did had to be. It had to be made clear that there's no opportunity for graft or cheating. And nobody would apply those standards. So that's why I actually have the domain do not go. It's because there was a website called go.com that was trying to be a Yahoo, trying to be a search directory. And it was just corrupt as corrupt could be. And so that's why do not go.com. So anyway, I've been inside of this whole bullshit forever on the internet, and I've been opposing every move the internet makes. And so, yes, I didn't have the website Google Sucks because somebody else did, so they were sort of doing the job, but then they sold out. Google paid them, and they decided to not be against Google anymore because they got paid to run away. It's just so sad. The history of the internet is just such a sad and tragic waste of a valuable resource, because human beings are just fucking scum. They're just corporate duty following, duty shit eating pieces of crap. All right, anyway. If you have a question about basic physics like force versus momentum, again, there's no force versus momentum, okay? So again, just absolute nonsense. The whole argument is that force is momentum. That's what Newton was saying. All right. Versus kinetic energy. Yeah, kinetic energy didn't exist as a reality. Okay. Yes, Leibniz had suggested it, and nobody believed it. Nobody. Okay. So again, just more crap. You can ask them at the reference test. So again, just bullshit, and somehow I'm the ill-informed one, when these assholes are the ones who don't even know who Leibniz is. All right. The presence of drag is what differentiates thrust in space from an atmosphere or other medium. That's a quote of mine. So you should properly put these things in proper quotes. No, I was talking about thrust equation. So this is the rocket equation. It's not the thrust equation, but whatever. So anyway, C rocket engine nozzle. That's not the frickin' goddamn rocket equation. Oh, amazing. Anyway, nuclear engines still have sufficient mass flow rate, though. No, they don't. So that's just a lie. What are you talking about? A nuclear bomb can be made out of like 7 ounces of material. What are you talking about? Significant flow rate, though. Obviously, it wouldn't have any such thing. It would be there'd be no mass relevant conversation. You wouldn't even talk about the tiny bit of the 7 extra ounces on your spaceship. So again, it just talks absolute nonsense. They're just more efficient than chemical rockets. Oh, about 7,000 million percent more efficient. Oh God, these people are just such bullshit artists. CWP reliable, whatever that is, regarding sources and thought experiments. So again, I'm not seeing any crap here. All right, the point isn't me making thought experiments. The point is your page on thrust is a piece of garbage. It doesn't say anything. It's vague, nonsensical gibberish. All right. Newton is a reliable source for what Newton said, not on modern day physics. So again, how do you apply this? I'll point out that the first sentence of your Wikipedia page on thrust cites Newton's third law. Why are you citing his third law when you're saying your modern day physics doesn't have anything to do with Newton? I mean, just amazing bullshit. Okay, so I stated, thanks for the reply. The accusation is that thrust is entirely controlled by momentum, and that, for example, the kinetic energy theorem would crash you on the moon rather than land you on the moon. So there's a simple truth. Either one formula works and the other one doesn't, or they both fail. Now, the fact that we actually did land on the moon means one of them worked. And the fact I'm asserting is that the one that worked was momentum. And their own fucking thrust page basically implies that without having the courage to say it. Overtly say it. Thrust is about momentum. That should be in the Wikipedia page. It should say it clearly that there's no sign of kinetic energy being a reality when you're considering thrust. Thrust has absolutely nothing to do with your fantasy idea of something called energy. Okay, yeah, no, it doesn't have anything to do with energy. All right. So then he said, if you have a basic question about physics like force, momentum, you can ask at the reference desk. I'm making the direct accusation that your Wikipedia page is not good science. It is superficial, vague, and slanders Isaac Newton. Show me the experiment where it takes 25 times the energy to spin an object 5 times as fast. Okay. Then, quoting him, Newton is a reliable source for what Newton said, not on modern day physics. So again, they'll quote Newton, abuse Newton, basically say Newton said things he didn't say. Okay, so it's just disgusting that they get away with this crap. Because they won't call themselves what they actually are, which is a bunch of Leibnizians. All right. The first sentence of the wiki page states Newton's third law. So there, it cites it. Cites Newton's third law. So it's right in the first, right in capital letters, in bold type. All right, let's just go to it, all right? It's right there at the frickin' page. Look. Thrust is a reaction force described quantitatively by Newton's third law. I mean, it's the first fucking sentence. Amazing. Just amazing bullshit. All right. The first sentence of Newton's third law. The third law was written describing momentum, not kinetic energy. Newton was not a Leibnizian. Modern physics says a bullet has 2,000 joules while the gun recoil is only 2 joules. How is that consistent with the third law? How the fuck can you cite a third law that basically says equal and opposite reactions, action and reaction? That's what it says. And you're going to say that the gun recoil isn't a reaction and that the bullet leaving isn't a reaction. Nothing's an action, nothing's a reaction. Somehow the force differential is the same. So something with 2,000 joules is exactly the same as something with 2 joules of energy. Newton said so. That's not what Newton said, you lying pieces of scum. God damn it. All right, how is that consistent with the third law? If I shot a bullet out one side of the ship and allowed a gun recoil to shoot out the other side, would the ship turn? This is the third time I've asked the question. The wiki page should provide an answer to the question. It should explicitly state that it's all about momentum. Thrust is about momentum. All right, the fact is little things going fast is not more thrust than big things going slow, and the wiki page should be clear on that. So that was my response to him. And then the rest is just accusations by the, this moron Selbram. So I did respond to his nonsense, but I didn't realize, I was making my response and I didn't, oh God, it's just a troll. But he concedes that the ship doesn't move. So we have, at least he answered the question. Okay, so you ask a basic question. Let's just draw it one more fucking time. All right, and he's answered the question, and it just proves the point. It proves their physics is absolute nonsense. Can't make any sense to anybody fair or reasonable. No fair, reasonable person could sit there and make a goddamn bit of sense out of this absolute nonsense. So I have a spaceship. All right, and I am going to turn the ship. All right, so I shoot 1,000 atoms mass, okay, at 1 mile per hour out this side, and I shoot 1 mass, okay, at 1,000 miles an hour out this side. Okay, I have 1,000 times 1,000x the energy going this way that I have going this way. 1,000 times the energy. Big giant arrow. Big huge giant energy arrow. Little tiny energy arrow. Okay. So, and he concedes the ship doesn't turn. So kinetic energy has this huge differential. No equal and opposite, okay? There's no equality here. There's a giant differential in the energy. A 1,000 times differential in the energy. And they concede the spaceship doesn't turn. So how could it be real energy? If it can't move this mass here, if this mass is unaffected, okay, by this huge, gigantic differential, then how can it be called real energy? And how is it in any way consistent with anything Newton argued? How is this an equal and opposite action and reaction? 1,000 watts this way, 1 watt that way. 1 unit of heat going this way, 1,000 units of heat going that way. How is that consistent with anything Newton stated? How is it not just a grotesque lie to say they are in any way arguing anything that could be called Newton's mechanics? This is not... This kinetic energy crap, this KE mv² bullshit, is Leibnizian mechanics. It is not Newton's fault. Newton didn't think it up. Newton didn't sell it. Newton didn't believe it. Newton argued against it. Those are the actual facts. And these liars, to defend their religion, okay, keep lying. Keep trying to support their religion by saying, well, Newton believed it, when no, he didn't. He opposed it aggressively. So it's just lie science everywhere. These bums and creeps. So again, I'm not going to keep replying to Selbram, so that's not going to happen. So I'll wait and see if the other guy says anything else, but it looks like they're just going to close it down. They're not going to bother responding in any way. We'll see. I'll just go to another page. I'll just go to the energy page and make the same arguments. And they will again fail to respond in any way to the fact that they're talking absolute nonsense. That it's not good science, it's not good logic, and it's full of grotesque distortions of the actual real history of the physics, of the science. It's all lie science. It's just their religion, and again, this isn't a place to argue our religion. Okay, we will you know, propagandize for our God, and you are not allowed to call that anti-science. Religion is science. That's all they're saying, loud and clear. Our religion is science. We don't have to defend it. We don't have to prove it. We don't have to show evidence. We don't have to do any of that. All we have to do is tell you it is true, and that's it. That's the extent of their responsibility to the integrity of human intelligence. They're disgraceful, stupid, ignorant, or arrogant, religious kooks. And overt liars. Again, these arguments aren't that challenging. Does the spaceship move? If the spaceship doesn't move, that is, if your kinetic energy differential cannot cause the spaceship to move, then it can't be energy. If it can't move matter, it can't be energy. Yeah, enough of a video. God, I hate this scummy planet.